everybody. Welcome to From Boxes to Butterflies. It's great seeing everybody who's here. Make sure you join in the comments, because we're going to have a wonderful time today when I bring Sandra up. I'm going to give you just a little bit brief bio about Sandra. Meet Sandra Bruce, the spirited, compassionate, and knowledgeable fairy godmother of midlife, has a background in child and youth social work and worked in customer service for over 26 years and has 12 years holding management roles. Given her extensive experience and expertise, it comes as no surprise that she's now following her passion for wellness, personal development, and gourmet experiences. It was when menopause came calling that Sandra decided to dedicate herself to helping other women embrace the whole evolution of life with confidence and with gusto. Now she works as the creator of Queenager VIP, where she aims to inform, uplift, and inspire women across the globe to join this exclusive celebration and reclaim their inner queen. And before I bring Sandra up, I just want to say, hey, Nadine, Melissa, Amber, it's so great to see all of you here. And now let's bring up Sandra. Hey, Sandra.
Hi. Hey, Susanna. How are you?
It's great having you here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to chat with you today.
Well, we've got such an amazing just connection over the past like 3 months, 4 months,
close to that anyway. Yeah.
When we started the Dare to Declare Vision Board program, and
yes, that's
and
right.
Now there's 4 of us
that summit coming up,
and the summit's coming up, and we've got our mastermind group from the Vision Board. So
and that is so magical, right? And wow, who would have thought that this vision board thing was actually real and that we'd be creating so many amazing things together and individually from just allowing ourselves to dream and dream big, right? It's fantastic.
And it's also great that what I love about this is a chance to kind of get you, because I know you're not quite as active on LinkedIn as you are on Facebook.
No.
So this is a chance for me to kind of get you in front of a lot of the people I hold in high respect. I mean, I love everybody who's already commented. These are people that are just freaking amazing to me, and I love them all. So it's great now that I can introduce you to them.
Well, thank you so much for sharing me with your audience. That's always humbling and a privilege for me.
And what I want to do now is give you a chance to talk about your story a little bit, your background, because you've got your own story of boxes to butterflies. And so it's a great chance for you to tell everybody.
So thanks, Susanna. So, you really have to go back to the beginning. When I was a child, and I grew up in a little bit of an interesting family situation. My parents were both much, much older. They were born in the 20s. And so my mom was born in 1929, my dad in 1924. They grew up in the Depression era. My dad went to World War II. And when they met late in life. My mom was 42. My dad was 47. They had never been married before, neither of them. Neither of them had ever had children. Then they met, and here I am, the product of that love story, and which is a whole different conversation that we can have, and it's actually a pretty cool love story. But not to digress too much, but having grown up in that environment where my parent, and I was born in 1972, I should say, so I'm in the 50 crowd. But having been born to parents who were depression aged children, my father was a farmer, he was a tugboat captain, he served in the infantry in World War II, very, very blue collar workers. My mother, the same thing. She worked at a textile mill up until she got married. And She left her home province of Quebec, moved to Ontario, not being able to speak the language very much, and persevered nonetheless. But having grown up in that dynamic, as I was saying, there were really defined gender roles that I grew up with. My mom was a stay at home mom. She stayed home. She raised me. My dad was off. He was working. He was often away good portion of the time during the spring through fall season because being a tugboat captain. So he was working on the St. Lawrence Seaway, the Great Lakes, and anywhere that his company needed him to go. So those roles were very much impressed upon me from a young age. You know, I saw that growing up. I also saw the money stories of we're not rich people, we're working class, we don't have a lot of money, we have to save for a rainy day, don't waste your money, money doesn't grow on trees, all those things and those cliches. So I grew up with all of that. And so as a good girl that I am, I followed along and did what I was supposed to do. I went to school, got married, had children, bought a house, had a career. And at 39, I had a death in my family. A cousin of mine who we were very, very close, took his life. And my life at that point just kind of shattered. I really had to take a step back and start looking at life in a whole different way. We were just planning his 50th birthday for the following year, and now we weren't going to be having that party. There was no indication that anything had been wrong. I always thought that we'd have another visit, and we didn't. So I really started taking stock of what is important in my life and what am I waiting to do. So I started this journey of self exploration. That's what I'm trying to say. Um, Really starting to look into what is it that I'm doing? What do I want in my life? Really seizing the day. Carpe diem became my mantra for 2 years. Really getting into every day was important. Fast forward to 2017. I decided and I declared to my family that it was going to be the year of decluttering because there was too much stuff in my house. And my children, who were 14 and 17 at this time, still had toys from when they were toddlers laying around the house. And I was done. Had to get it cleaned out. I was like, there was this thing inside me that's like, it's got to go. And so started that little mission and, worked my way through the house. And come about August, I sat in my office and I said, I'm done. I'm done. Like, I cannot sit in this cubicle anymore. I just can't. I physically cannot do this. And at the same time, I also decided that I was done with my marriage. I had been married to this man for almost 20 years. We had had 2 children together. We had been together for almost 25 years at this point. It's a wonderful man. Don't get me wrong. But I was done. That relationship was no longer serving me. It was no longer giving me what I needed in my life. So what I thought was just decluttering the house turned into decluttering my life. And everything started to fall apart. And, when I look back on it, it wasn't really falling apart. It was just falling away. And in the midst of this, menopause was starting to come on. I'm having all these weird, wacky symptoms. I'm emotionally up, emotionally down. I'm on this roller coaster. I felt like I was a teenager again in every sense of the word. I was having acne all of a sudden, hot flashes. I was just the whole gamut. And so I go to my doctor and I said, oh my God, I think I'm losing my mind. I'm having all this stuff happening. I don't know if I'm coming, if I'm going. And she said, oh, don't worry. It's just menopause. It's normal. You'll be fine. I'm like, okay, no. That does not work for me. This is not normal. And I refuse to accept that this is normal and that this is going to be my life now. So I really started on a journey of looking into more information, trying to learn more about how to how to deal with menopause, how to get through it. And I thought I was having a midlife crisis. I swear. I was sure I'm having a midlife crisis. This is what's going on. And when I hit 50, that was the pivotal turning point. That was the point where it became clear that I was never in a crisis. There was never a midlife crisis happening. It was a metamorphosis. What was happening was I was starting to come out of what that box was previously of who I was, who society said I was supposed to be. And now I was stepping into my power, my queen power of this is what I want for my life. This is what's important to me. And really owning that and making a journey of the experiences. And it's been such a trip, let me tell you. Learning to have fun again, that was a big thing for me because for a long time, I didn't allow myself to have fun because, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a career person, I'm the wife of an executive at a bank. I had responsibilities, I had a persona to be, and that person doesn't have fun. That person isn't, silly and childlike. She's serious and she's professional. And I realized how sad that made me. And so now I embrace those little moments of just being able to be silly and doing crazy things, and jumping in puddles is one of my favorite activities to do. I gotta be honest. I love jumping in puddles. But yeah, it's been a trip, and it's really been a journey. And, I wish if there's one thing that I wish that I could change is that I had somebody at the beginning to help me go through this and to help me realize what was actually happening to make it less lonely. I felt really alone. I felt really confused. And I felt like I was the only person going through this at the time. And, I've realized now that I'm not. And as I speak to more women and I talk about my experience, I get oh my God, that's happened to me too. I feel like that now, So if anything, if the one legacy that I can leave is to be able to take my experiences and help guide other women through that journey, whatever it looks like for that, and help them get to the other side and help them become that beautiful butterfly. And I love that your show is called Boxes to Butterflies, because it really is about breaking out of that box or out of that cocoon and opening up our wings and letting us fly.
Well, and what you just said, the way you described it, how everything is boxed, and
Yeah.
people are basically telling you who you are, what you're supposed to do. And then you've taken society's picture of you're running a bank, you're an executive. This is what an executive does. This is the box. This is who you are. This is what you do. This is how you're viewed. And so many of us just get stuck in that box that they don't know how to get out of it.
That's right.
And you just kind of had this, your body kind of gave you a physical way of,
Oh, did it ever? I went through a whole health crisis issue because I didn't listen the first time. So my body was very good about saying, let's just make this a little louder for you and make sure you hear what I have to say. Yeah, it was a little dicey there for a while, but we're all good now.
well, and we've got
Yeah.
some amazing people in the audience too, because I see Rosanna's here,
Love Rosanna. Hi, Rosanna.
and Chris Berryman is here,
Hello, Chris.
and it's great seeing Abimbola's here. So there's just some amazing people And Leanna is actually in one of the books I was just in. She's in Rattled
Oh,
Awake,
nice.
and the amazing Jackie Hallberg, she's just about everywhere. I feel like she got lots of audio rooms, so it's great seeing her. And then I adore Leanne, so it's great for an opportunity for you to meet some of these. And
Thank you.
as we talk about this, and I love I just love butterflies anyway. It just fits me. And as you talk about that metamorphosis
Hmm.
and how things change, I'm kind of curious how you kind of talk about a couple of ways, a couple of times your body's saying, we need to just get this over with
Yeah.
so we can move on.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
what was it that kind of caused you to ignore it, just to have it come back and say, no, I'm going to slap you in the face now if I have to?
Practicality and being pragmatic. You know, that's probably what the last straw of pushing me over my physical health edge. Um, I had done a whole bunch of stuff leading up to that. 2017, like I said, was that big year of everything falling away and going into a separation and a divorce, leaving my career, setting myself up as a single person again, and a single mom. I'd kept our matrimonial home, and so had left my career, but needed to find some way to pay the bills still. So went back into a corporate role for a little while, and it was that going back into the corporate role that really kind of messed me up, because I hadn't listened the first time about you're done with the cubicle, you're done. I went back in.
Right.
And so late 2018, I had a bit of a health scare. I had a blood pressure issue of something like 218 over 188. I was a stroke waiting to happen, literally.
I had that
I was
once.
at the I was in the emerge. I was getting ready for work. I was getting ready for work in the morning. I'm in the bathroom, putting my makeup on, and I'm standing there. I'm thinking, something doesn't feel right. Like I couldn't explain what it was. There was nothing that I could physically, like, I wasn't throwing up,
Right.
or I didn't have a fever. I couldn't feel my heart racing or anything like that, but something
Nope.
just felt off. Enough that something said, you know what? Go to the emergency room. Go to the emergency room. Let's just go and see what happens. So I went and saw the triage nurse. She puts the blood pressure cuff on it. She looks at the reading and she went, it's kind of weird. This machine worked fine a minute ago. So she unplugs the machine, resets it, puts it back on, and does it again. And she looks at the reading. She looks at me. She says, are you okay? I went, well, I'm sitting in the emerge, so probably not. I don't know. You tell me. I'm here for you. Yeah, so that's when I found out that my blood pressure was a stroke waiting to happen. So that started a whole many months long journey of endless medical tests and assessments, and one specialist after another. And I ended up back in an ER about 3 weeks to a month later. Um, this time I kind of had a bit of a better understanding, because again, I had gone back to work, right? Because I did a little, I'm a Taurus, FYI, so sometimes I can be a little stubborn.
Welcome to
So
the club. Me too.
I went back to work, and I'm sitting at my desk, and I all of a sudden went, oh, I don't feel so good. So I went to my manager, and she looks at me, she goes, are you okay? You're awfully pale. Oh, no, I'm not okay. So she drove me back to the emergency room, and the ER nurse looked at me and said, okay, you're going to sit right here. And when they're ready to register you, we're going to take you down, and then you're going to come back and you're going to sit here till they have a room ready for you. So That was pretty much the end of my corporate career. That was October, February. I left and became an entrepreneur, a full-time entrepreneur. Um, Completely left corporate, have not gone back since. I learned my lesson. Um, haven't gone back, and
Exactly.
I wouldn't go back. I wouldn't go back. There are days where I think, maybe I should get a little part-time job. But no, no, no. I'm reminded that no. You're on the right path. Stay where you are. But yeah, so that was my. I really should have listened the first time it told me I was done with the cubicle, but here we are. But again, you know what? It's a learning thing. I actually learned a lot about myself because there was a lot that I had to let go of that I hadn't let go of yet, and I didn't know I hadn't let go of it yet. And that keeps coming up in different ways. And it's because of where we are in our journey, we can let go of some things, but until we go through that process and then we grow a little bit more, then we have to go back and revisit certain things. Like when we moved into our boat, sold the house. It was a little emotional. I won't lie. I'd lived in that house for 19 years. I'd raised two boys in that house. There were a lot of memories, and I would say 90% of them were good memories. So it was a little hard, but I did it, and we moved in here in September of 2021. And about November, it was November, yeah, late November, I fell into this depression, this really deep, dark depression. And it took a little while for me to figure out why I was there. I always find nuggets of wisdom when I drop into that little dark valley every now and then. But
Right.
what I realized what it was it was grief. And I was grieving for my life that I had left behind. I was okay with having left it behind. It was time, and I have absolutely no regrets of leaving it behind, but there had to be a grieving process which I hadn't allowed myself to do since all of this stuff began. And when I recognized what that feeling was and why I was feeling so sad, I was able to sit with it and express it in a way that helped me grow and helped me accept the wonderful things that my life had been and use those to fuel the wonderful things that my life is now and will continue to be. So, always something to learn, regardless of where we are.
And you weren't even expecting the grief to happen. It just kind of came out
No,
of you, right?
it absolutely did. It absolutely did. I would never in a million years have thought that I was grieving my past life. Like
Exactly.
I had never experienced that before. And so that was something really took me back. It really took me back, and it took me a little while to sit with it and come to terms with it and what it was and why it was.
And
But
I totally get that one
yeah.
because I had it happen to me at the beginning of July this year.
Hmm.
It's like
Yeah.
I thought I was done with my family, but suddenly something happened and I end up grieving the loss of my family. It's like I wasn't expecting this.
Yeah.
I thought I had it done, tied off. I don't want to go back there.
And yet
And
here we are.
and then yeah, for the
Yeah.
next week, it's like you got to deal with it. Just
Yeah.
but let it go. That's it.
Well,
See it and let it go.
exactly. And it's so interesting that we're talking about this because I just this morning was talking about this on my Instagram live about being with your feelings. And it's okay to be vulnerable. There's freedom and magic in that vulnerability. I love the work of Brene Brown. I think she's
Oh,
absolutely
yes.
brilliant in terms of talking about shame and vulnerability. And
Yep.
there really is that magic and being vulnerable and just sitting with your feelings. The light worker community has in the past almost been toxic in its quest for positivity And it's we'll get through these feelings, and it's okay, this too shall pass, and all those things that you're stronger for just getting through it and not dealing with the negative emotions and keep them stiffer upper lip, right?
Yeah.
But that's not the case. We really need to allow ourselves to feel what we feel. It's okay to feel sad. It's okay to be angry. Oh my God. If you are angry about something, be angry, right? But it's crucial to our inner growth to allow ourselves to sit with whatever it is we're feeling and understand why we might be feeling that and go through the process of it. Don't try to stick it away. That's how I ended up with my health issues, is I was trying to stick it all away and I hadn't dealt with it. Right. And then it showed up in my health issues. It showed up in grief because I hadn't dealt with the grief of having lost my previous life. And, you know, again, it was something that I needed to do, and I didn't regret it for a moment, but it was still a loss. It was a loss of my identity. And now, as exciting as it is to create my new identity, there's a little bit of part of me that was comfortable with that identity, that previous Sandra,
Right.
So, yeah. And
Well,
it requires you sometimes to lose a lot of people in your life when you go through that,
true.
right?
But now let's go on to the next piece, because
Yes.
Queenager, where did it come from? How did it come about? And what's happening now?
So,
What is it?
Queenager. So we have to go back to where I was a little over a year ago, just as I was coming into my 50. And I was working with a great mentor of mine at the time and her husband. So Shasta Townsend and Ian LaValle, got to give a shout out to them. They helped me a lot in my journey of discovering what it is that I really wanted to do with my life and in my life. And so we were talking menopause, and I always look at menopause as puberty in reverse. So as we go into puberty, right, think about it, you're having all these crazy hormonal things happening and your body's doing
Mhm.
weird, wacky things and you're changing. Well, so too in menopause, it's that hormonal upheaval again. Your body's doing all kinds of hormonal changes. Things are happening in your body. You don't necessarily understand them. Acne comes back. Surprise, surprise. Um, so menopause was all about puberty in reverse. And when you look at when are we in puberty? Well, we go through puberty typically through our teen years, right?
Right.
So this was all playing in my mind. And I had seen this meme online. Somebody had sent to me that said that menopausal women shall be called queenagers. And I found it really funny at the time. And so Shasta and Ian and I are having a little brain power session. And I mentioned that as we were coming up with ideas for my new company and what it is I wanted to do. And we were talking about being in your sovereign power and royalty. And I said, menopausal women are queenagers. And all three of us just kind of stopped and looked at each other and went, that's it. That's it. We're queenagers. We're still embodying that teenage physicality with the menopausal hormone hurricane that's happening. But we're also embodying that teenage spirit. Think back to when you were a teenager and there was nothing in the world you couldn't do, right?
Right.
The world was all in front of you. Your life was in front of you. Anything was possible. Well, why not now, as we're into our queenage years, into our midlife, 40, 50, even 60? Why can't we still embody that teenage spirit, that sense of the world is there for the taking? Our entire life is still ahead of us. There is still a lot to do, because I know when I hit 50, it hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, I am not done. I am just getting started. There's no way I'm past my prime. And so that was really the embodiment of what Queenager is. It's about embracing the teenage spirit that's in all of us. And, you know, let's be honest, by the time we've hit 50, we've gone through all the crap. We've earned the crown. Wear it proudly, ladies, because we have earned that crown. So that's where Queenager came in. And let's be honest, VIP is better, right? Anna Delvey said it. VIP is better. You just got to be willing to do the work. So I like to treat everybody that comes into contact with me as a VIP. So it was Queenager VIP. Everybody is in the VIP room when they work with me, when they interact with me. And I always try to make sure that any of my events are giving that little bit of extra, that little VIP touch to it. So, yeah, that's where that came from.
Well, it's great. And because it's really, I take it back to you and jumping in puddles. It just,
Yeah.
it really fits. The way you talk about it is like, there's no reason we can't be jumping in puddles.
No.
In our 50s, in our 60s, and in whatever
Absolutely.
age. And so
Yes.
the Queenager idea, sure, you're going to go through the body changes a little bit, but you're still,
you know what? That's
you.
I like to call that superficial fluff. It is what it is, right? You get the tweezers out, you pull out the little chin hairs that come in every now and then. And I found some great skincare, so acne has been tamed down, so we're all good. And I'm embracing my gray, you know. It is what it is, right? Like those are the things that we have limited control over, I should say. But
Right.
I'm not willing to put my energy into stressing over them and worrying about, oh my gosh, I have a gray hair. You know what? If I don't like the gray hair, I could color my hair if I wanted to, you know?
I would almost bet that if I were to see a picture of you 5 years ago versus now, you would look younger.
I think I do. Not gonna lie, I think I do. I'm a little heavier than I was, but you know what? I'm happier and I'm more vibrant than I was then. Yeah, there's a couple of creaks here and there in my joints, but I don't let that stop me from doing anything. And I sing in the grocery store if there happens to be a song on that I like, and I dance while I'm in the car. You know, it is what it is. I don't worry about what society says anymore. I follow my heart. And that's a much easier way to make sure that I'm on the right path and I'm following my compass.
But that's what makes us younger.
Yeah.
Is doing just that.
I agree.
I can look at photos of me 3 years ago versus now,
Mm-hmm.
and just disregarding the obvious. It's like I aged in reverse. So many people who watched me through that are like, did you get a facelift? It's like, no. Here's the 26th of December of 19, 20, 21, 22. And you look at the difference. It's like, no, it has nothing to do with, I mean, yeah, a little bit better skincare, but other than that,
when you're happy, it shows. You start to radiate differently when you allow yourself to just be yourself. Don't worry about what other people are going to say about you, because you know what? You're going to say something anyway. Regardless of what you do, somebody is always going to have something to say. And at the end of the day, just do what makes you happy. You know, be respectful, be kind, be compassionate to people. Absolutely. But the more that you can be true to yourself and allow yourself to be happy, it's going to radiate from you and people are going to notice.
Well, and that's the epitome of moving beyond the box.
Yeah.
Because we're not ourselves when we're letting something control us, whether it's
That's
other
right.
people, whether it's our own beliefs, our thoughts, our fears. We can't have that joy. But once beyond the box, even once you start the journey, once you take the first step,
Mm-hmm.
and then the next step, it starts changing everything.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
that it's
absolutely.
almost like a reversal age process for some.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It reminds me of that movie, The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, right? As he goes through that whole journey, he actually gets younger, and you can see that transformation within him. But it's been a trip, let me tell you. And it continues to be a trip. Every day is a new day. Is every day I get up and I go, oh, what's going to happen today? I'm forever in a sense of curiosity, looking at things with the lens of curiosity. It was one of the images on my vision board was the lady with her magnifying glass looking out.
Right.
And I couldn't figure out why I was so attracted to that photo. And that's what it is. It's having that sense of infinite curiosity about what is that all about? What's going on there? And
It's like you're Agatha
using
Christie.
it to look inside myself. Oh, I love Agatha Christie. I'm a huge mystery novel fan. So
I mean, the minute you talk about it in that, that's my first thought is
yeah.
Agatha Christie, because I loved watching all the Poirots.
Oh yes, yes.
I wasn't so good at the reading part, but you put David Suchet up there, and I've watched them all.
There you go.
But that's where we're at.
Yeah.
It's finding these ways to go to just make life better, and I really
Mhm.
like that way of taking the Queenager and making it a better life, getting her to shine.
Yeah. Because we
And
all
so,
we all we all do, right? We're all born to be bold in our own beautiful, unique way. And society has given other parameters to us in the past. And it's time to let those go. It's time to defy the limiting beliefs and the stereotypes around, specifically around aging and around women and aging. You know,
right,
women to be seen with gray hair and aging are seen past their prime and has-beens, whereas men with gray hair and in their 50s are seen as silver foxes and are running for president of the United States. So we got to look at where is the double standard here, and women really need to own that power that they have in midlife and beyond and say, we're not past our prime, we are just getting started, watch out.
yeah. I mean, if they can do it, like shit, why not? It's,
Exactly.
the,
Exactly.
the faculty is not any different. In
No,
fact,
no,
I've always
absolutely not.
seen the truth of it. But that's just it. I mean, as
Yeah.
you talk about that, it's not even just the silver fox. It's almost like they're viewed as being more intelligent in the grandfatherly,
Yeah.
knows everything. That's where you go to.
Mhm.
Like, no. I always found more wisdom in grandma.
Well, and if we go back even to ancient times, it was the women in the tribe and in the clans who were the soothsayers. They were the seers. They were the ones that the chiefs went to for counsel
Hmm.
on all their big decisions. They went to the grandmothers of the tribe for wisdom because that's where it resided. It
Exactly.
wasn't until we fast forward into medieval times and into the Renaissance where we ended up with colonialism. And I don't want to get on a whole big rant about patriarchy
No,
and colonialism because that's not what it's about. But it was a shift in the structure of society as we got away from being tribal and clans to more cities and towns and villages where you had a different dynamic, and it wasn't it wasn't just one family anymore, it was multiple families, and now you've got a leader who is leading everything, as opposed to, yes, you can call the chief a leader, but it was more of a community, right? And so we kind of lost that, where women were very integral in the operation of the tribe, to where we were with colonialism and the growth of towns and villages and cities and such. And where we saw men predominantly take over those roles and women be downgraded to lower statures, and have had to now work our way back up again. We
Right.
still have a lot of work to do, but it's
Yeah.
certainly gotten better, right?
I have some theories on that I can go through, but I'm not going to open that can of worms right now.
Not right now.
Well,
That could be a whole other discussion that we can have about patriarchy and versus
I can take
matriarchy,
it even
and
further, because
oh yeah,
just having
there's so much
having
to
had
go on.
my life, let's just say, yeah, I've seen a few
Yeah,
things. But when you
absolutely.
talk about in terms of Queenager,
Yeah.
what are some of the things that you really focus on when you work with women? And do you have any, because I can't remember, do you have any kind of retreats or something that
So
you're looking at or considering in the future?
absolutely. So when I work with women, I have a few different ways that we work together. So, um, I do power word workshops,
Hmm.
2 to 3 hour workshops, depending on the size of the group. And I do them virtually. I do them in person. My preference is in person. I love in person events, but
It's much better in
um,
person.
it is better in person, but I recognize the versatility of virtual as well. So,
Right.
that's a great way for women to sort of get introduced to me, who may not know me very well, who don't really know what I'm all about. So it's a great way for them to be introduced to it, find that one word that really speaks to them, and they may just be on the beginning of their journey, and that can help them unlock some of those things that they want to start working on. I do my vision board workshops, and those are more retreat like events, where I will do them as 1 or 2 day events, depending
Hmm.
on what the group has in store and what we want to accomplish. So if it's a retreat, then day one is all about digging in, getting clear on what it is that we want, what our desires are, looking at the blocks and what might be stopping us, creating a beautiful vision board that is really the tool for helping them start to dream big in their lives, help start manifesting those things that they want, really making that connection, with day two being all about goal setting and looking at that vision board and saying, okay, this is what I want in my life. What do I need to do now in order to manifest that? It's all great to have the vision board and to have a picture of it, but how do I make it happen? Right? There's no gift unless you take action. So I do those, and then I also have a 4 week program that I do. Essentially, it's the same thing as the in person 2 day retreat, but we do it over 4 weeks virtually. And first 3 weeks are that vision board portion, with the last week being um, all on goal setting. And then I have my coaching program. So I have a 3 month program. There's a 6 month intensive program as well, where that's where we really start to look at, okay, what is stopping you from getting that life that you want? What is the story that you're telling yourself that is keeping you down, that is keeping you from taking the actions that are going to leapfrog you into that next step, or into that dream life that you so desperately want? What is it that you keep telling yourself in your mind? And we start looking at those, identify them, and then start breaking them down and kind of dig into it. Well, where is that coming from? All right, now we know what we're dealing with. How do we beat it? How do we bust through those boundaries and bust through boundaries is one of my other training workshops that I have that's just about ready to launch. It's going to launch after the summit coming up at the end of September, which is all about identifying those limiting beliefs and
Right.
putting a name to what some of them are. So things like feeling fundamentally flawed or the fear of outshining. Those are just two examples of ones that really can become barriers to us being able to take a leap forward and creating our dream life. So that'll be coming up in next month sometime. And yeah, so lots of great things happening. I have my first ebook that I just published as well, Radiance and Resilient. It's how to unleash how to rediscover your passion. Sorry. And that'll be available on my website again after the summit. Holding all my little goodies until after the summit. Yeah, lots of things coming for the fall. Oh my gosh, it's going to be busy, 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 but I'm loving every second of it. And can't wait to see what else pops off the vision board.
Wow. I mean, it's like, dang, I wish we were closer. It'd be fun to
I know.
do a vision board retreat with you.
It would be amazing. It really would be amazing. We'll have to make that happen soon. Maybe we'll meet in the middle.
How that fits my vision board. Which one could that be?
I know. We'll meet in the middle somewhere. Maybe we'll go to Wisconsin.
Well, I think that's still a little closer to you, but
okay, we'll find somewhere.
Because you're what? You're basically New York.
I'm Toronto. Yeah, close enough. Toronto.
So yeah, Western New York.
Yeah. Buffalo is about a 2.5-hour drive.
Yeah, I remember having. It's so much fun because being in that vision board program.
Yeah.
All of you are in the same
East
area.
Coasters. We're all. You're right. Carol's in the same area.
Canada.
Yeah.
You're all Canada.
Yes, this is true. We are all Canada.
You're all Canada, so I'm hearing the aboots all the time.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, so we're all about being up here in Canucks land.
Exactly. So it was really a lot of fun. Just for me, it was just reminiscing in some ways because having grown up in northern Maine,
I was going to say,
CBC was one of my
East Coaster.
Yeah, one of my stations was always CBC because we only had 3. We had the local station.
Yeah.
We had PBS, and then we had CBC. So I was watching the Forest Rangers all the time.
The great days of the rabbit ear antennas.
Exactly. And then
yep.
Then something happened, and on the little black and white, which isn't even a 12-inch square, we were getting one of the French Canadian stations.
Oh, well, yeah, because you'd be fairly close to Quebec. Yeah.
Well, oh yeah, I mean, I'm on the opposite side of the state, but I'm like 8 miles from the Atlantic time zone. But then all of a sudden it's like, here's the Flintstones in Canadian.
Yep. Very fun. Very fun.
Yeah, and I love the way you lay out the ways that the vision boards can be done. Because a lot of people they need to understand that the vision boards that we have isn't that collage, artistic, girls' night in with a bottle of wine and just making pictures. Like, no, this is so much deeper.
It's a lot deeper. It's interesting. I ran a Power Word workshop about a month ago, and I had one woman attend, and she's familiar with vision boards, and I called it a mini vision board with power. And so she came into it with a preconceived notion of vision board, but smaller. And when she laughed, she was so blown away. She said, this is nothing like a vision board. This is so much more. This was so life-changing. Like, it really made her start to think more about what it is she's doing with her life and the journey that she's taking. and going into that next step of, okay, let's make this bigger. Let's really expand.
Yeah. Well, it's just like Sia's in the house. Like, Sia, we need to talk because you and I
Absolutely.
will set something up for vision boards, and we'll take care of the hounds on the vision boards, and then depending
There
on
you
how
go.
many we get, hey, we may get a bunch of us in there, and it's like if I get enough of them, it's like you and I can just start rolling through a whole bunch of vision boards.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm
It's
sure
funny.
a
I
lot of
say
you
on
do
my
Queenager too, because
Yeah,
if there's
I
one
say
thing
on my
about my
website, it's not your
Queenager,
Nona's knitting club. Um,
no,
this is not your 2000s vision board. This is better. This is bigger. This is way more interesting.
yeah. I've got a couple other people that I need to get them to. Yeah, Sia, we need to have that chat. My workbooks are going to be ready pretty soon, and then I'll be ready to. I will start promoting those myself pretty soon.
Excellent.
Um, because like you, I'm working with Michelle on that. So
Yeah.
the
Oh,
colors are
isn't
done.
she a gift?
Sh-
Shout
it-
out to Michelle Hope Wright. Let me tell you, she's an absolute gem, and her and I are doing some other work together on the essential oils side and integrating that into a lot of my offerings that we're doing. And yeah, she's just so special.
well, and getting so pretty soon I'll have both sets of workbooks, the Power
Yeah,
Word but then also I'm working with her to rebrand the whole slide deck
wonderful.
full line, so everything will. I mean, let's face it, I have to have my pink.
Yes, absolutely.
If it's not pink, it's just not
Uh
right.
huh. Yes.
And that's what's going to happen with the summit, because we got the
Yeah.
summit coming up next week, and with or not in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
No, I don't want that fast. So yeah,
Don't
so
scare me like that.
the women's summit, get out of her damn ways in 2 weeks.
Yes, yes, that is
Um,
going to be so incredible.
which day are you speaking?
I will be speaking on Thursday, the 28th at 2 p.m. Eastern Time.
Okay, so you've got the 2 p.m. and I've got Friday at 10 a.m. So my 7 a.m.
Mhm. Yes,
It's
bright and
an
early.
early start. Unlike these Sias of the world, they're closer to your time zone than my time zone.
Yes. Well, and Margaret and I are traveling on Friday to a camp retreat for the weekend called Soulful Camp.
Oh
It's been
yes,
Yes.
talk about
So,
Soulful Camp, because I'm
oh,
going to have Margaret on next week.
oh,
So
wonderful.
this
Oh,
is Canadian month for me because I had
Margaret's
Tracy
another
last week.
gem.
I
I
got you.
absolutely love her. She's my soul sister. So Soulful Camp, I can't take credit for Soulful Camp. I have to give credit to the wonderful and beautiful Jenny McKee and Heather Del Rosario. They created Soulful Camp. It is a camp retreat for women. Happens 5 to 6 times a year, depending on camp availability and such. It's a 3-day retreat. You arrive Friday night, you leave Sunday afternoon. It's all about healing, empowering women, a spiritual journey. We do all kinds of really cool workshops, everything from aligning chakras to belly dancing to create arts and crafts, finger painting to learning how to line dance. And then there's lots of outdoor activities all seasons of the year. So we've done things like forest bathing, archery, snow tubing, cross country skiing. So lots of great things, but it's a wonderful, safe environment for us to really be vulnerable, to allow ourselves to feel what we're feeling, no judgments, no expectations. The camps are in beautiful, beautiful settings. The last one I was at in May was at a beautiful camp called Camp Trillium. It is a children's cancer camp. So it is a space where kids going through cancer treatments can come and be kids and just enjoy not having to worry about what it is they're going through. Because it's that type of camp, it had incredible state of the art facilities. But even in some of the more rustic camps that we stay at, the facilities are still beautiful. They're still wonderful. They're out in amazing spaces out on lakes. We're going to be on Lake Couchiching that last weekend of September at Camp Wahinawin, which is also typically they're kids camps that we go to, but they also do adult programs. And typically the food has been fantastic so far. I can't complain about any of the food of any of the camps that I've been to. So that's one of the fun things, right? But you go back to, again, it's about reenacting and reclaiming that inner child. So whether you were a kid that went to camp and you're having those memories of when you went to camp, or you were a kid who didn't go to camp like me. I never went to camp when I was a kid. We had a cottage, so I spent my entire summer at a cottage, but I always wanted to be that kid that went to camp. And so now I'm that 51-year-old woman that gets to go to camp.
No, you're that queenager who gets to go to camp.
Yeah, exactly. I'm the queenager that goes to camp. I jump in the puddles and I go play in the sand, and we go to the beach and we have campfires and we sing silly songs and we do arts and crafts, and I love every second of it. And I meet other women who are like-minded and who, share the same values that I do, share the same journey that I'm on. And it's incredibly empowering. So anybody that wants to know more, reach out to me. I'll be happy to connect you with Jenny and Heather and Soulful Camp if you want to learn more. They are all in Ontario right now. However, one thing, they are going to Costa Rica this year. They are doing a week-long retreat, Soulful Camp retreat in Costa Rica in March. Dates are escaping me right now, so I'm sorry about that. But again, if you want to know more, reach out and I'll connect you with the right person. But Costa Rica in March sounds pretty darn good to me.
Well, especially if you're in Canada. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Here,
heck of a lot warmer.
I don't exactly get the snow, but I see
the rain.
My closest sister, Nick, she just got on, and yeah, don't worry about the time, Nick. I know how life goes. She's on Long Island, so
okay.
Yeah, it's like anybody that's in that northern tier, let's just say Midwest to Northeast. Yeah, I have.
It's always nice to escape and to somewhere warm in the winter.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And as we're kind of coming towards the end of this, it's like, man, time flies so fast.
How does time fly so fast? How did an hour go by already? Holy cow!
I know. And so when it comes to that, what I'd love to do is kind of give you the final words and be able to tell people how they. Well, yeah, CJ's got the brutal winters in San Diego. I get that.
Yeah, okay.
Sis, but when it comes to for people to find you, because I know you're in multiple places, so I want to make sure they know where to find you in all your places, and just kind of some final words on anything you want to leave as parting comments.
So for anyone that lives in the Toronto area and is of a certain vintage, you'll know what I mean when I say I'm like City TV. I'm everywhere. So I'm on Instagram and Facebook as Queenager VIP. It's also my website, queenagervip.com. I am also on LinkedIn. I just haven't been as vocal on LinkedIn, but I'm working on that. We're getting better. I found a new way to manage that side. So you can if you Google Queenager VIP, you'll find me somewhere. That's where I hang out. And really all I have to say is don't ever let anyone tell you that you have to be this way or have to be that way. Allow yourself to be who you are. You were given beautiful gifts. You were born with a purpose in mind. Life has gotten in the way, but it doesn't have to continue to be in the way. Allow yourself to really go back to what is it that you have a taste for? What is it that lights you up? And I'll give you a little free bit of coaching that I give to all my coaching clients, especially the ones that have troubles with journaling, is go to your five senses. So think about taste, sight, smell, hearing. I had to think about that, and feel. And come up with one thing for each of your five senses that excites you. What is it that when you see it, visually see it, fills your heart? What is it when you taste it, fills your heart? And go through that little exercise, and you're going to find that that's going to open up something inside you. And all of a sudden, it's going to get easier. And you're going to say, oh, and I like that. And I have a taste for that. And I really get excited when I do that. And that's where you're going to start that process of finding out who the real person inside you is.
I love that. It's because we need to let that person out.
We sure do.
Be our
Sure
authentic
do.
selves and let them out. Stop putting a wall around them. Stop hiding. Just be our authentic selves. And
Bust through the boundaries.
And everybody that I've seen in the comments, right, all the way through Nick. I mean, she's up front, bipolar writer, and she is so amazing. And okay, so yes, your sister's in Canada, Canada, not California. There's the difference. States, CA, that's California. First thought, not Canada.
Yes, that's right. And yeah, you're right. Canada winters suck.
I know what they're like. I was in northern Maine, so
they're the same. Yeah, New York, same thing.
So it was great having you on. I loved this conversation
so much. I love this conversation too. I could talk to you all day long, Susanna. I seriously could.
Well, see, I think we're already set for tomorrow morning. So
yes, that's right. I can see you again twice in 1 week. Yay!
What a deal!
Oh,
I'm
thinking tomorrow afternoon.
Oh, that's right. We got tomorrow afternoon too.
Twice in one day.
Twice in a day. Oh, there we
go. I know. It's awesome. Thank you again so much for bringing me onto your platform and letting me share a little bit of me and my journey with all your followers and viewers, and hopefully it resonated with somebody.
I have a feeling it resonated with quite a few of them, and for some of them that didn't quite resonate, either they're just not there yet, or they know somebody that it will. So
exactly. And hey, I'm not everybody's cup of tea.
Nobody is.
That's right. That's what makes life wonderful.
Exactly. All right. So with that, thank you everybody for showing up. It was great having you here. And I look forward to seeing you the next time we have From Boxes to Butterflies. Bye.